Are you looking for inspiration, peace, and a deeper connection with your soul? If you're ready to investigate your higher truth, take a deeper look inside, and discover a better way to live, stay tuned for Higher Soul Living, where we ignite your divine intelligence for life. With me, Reverend Christine Hart-Savage. I experienced a profound spiritual awakening that was so life-changing. It took me into a 30-year career as a metaphysical life coach and breathwork expert. I've mentored thousands of people through their personal challenges, anxiety, self-doubt, and search for meaning. Higher Soul Living is about choosing to live the higher way. It's about taking conscious ownership and drawing spiritual intelligence into your everyday life. Join me on a search for higher truth to find hope, connection, and happiness. The Higher Soul Living Show starts now. Hello everyone, this is Christine Hart-Savage, Reverend Christine Hart-Savage in fact, and you are listening to Higher Soul Living, and today we're speaking about soulmates and soul work. And it's such an interesting subject to talk about because in our society, we all believe in soulmates. Well, a lot of us do. I know I do. I believe in soulmates. So soulmates are something that is fascinating because we think about soulmates in a certain way. And I'd really like to unpack that. It's a great subject. So soulmates, do they actually exist? And what do they look like? What's it all for? And I ask you, have you ever met someone that seemed strangely familiar, like really familiar, and even though you had never met them before? It's like, oh, this person, I know them. So what is this curious and sort of soul-stirring phenomenon? Let's unpack it. I've got a little buggy in here today that's flying around my face. That's why I'm doing that. So let's unpack this subject. Have you ever had this sense in your life? Like even if it was a flash, and often it is a flash, a split second, it can be across the room when you catch somebody's eyes and there's an exchange. You just look into their eyes and boom, there's this instant thing, just this thing. There's a recognition of something, a flash of connection that happens. And it can be really, really quick and then it's gone. But something happened in that moment, something that's beyond cognition, beyond words, but you know something happened. So sometimes it's just this instant knowing when you meet somebody. And look, sometimes that's just that flash and you never see them again. But was that a soul connection? Was that a soulmate? Was there an exchange of something that happened between you? That's what I'd like to look at. So in my own life, it happened to me. There was an instant knowing. And it was in actually a long time ago now, 1987. I walked past a man in a corridor and boom, I absolutely knew. I had this thought come in, I'm going to marry that man. It was an instant and I absolutely knew it. But then there was a part of me, my mind, started to say, that is ridiculous, Christine. But the deeper part of me knew there was this recognition. And you know what? I did marry him. So why does this happen? So I believe it's an exchange of deeper knowledge. There's a soul recognition that happens, but what does that actually mean for us? And are there different sorts of soulmates? And what is the soul work that's often contained in a soulmate relationship? So as a society, we tend to think of a soulmate as a romantic situation, all lovey-dovey, a person who fulfills us, makes us whole, the yang to our yin. That's the way we tend to think about soulmates. Like we float off in this cloud of wonderful fluffiness They're going to fill us with our lollygoggle bliss bombs and we're going to live happily ever after. Oh, wouldn't that be nice? We think of as a soulmate as someone who will complete us. But is this always true? I used to think of a soulmate in this romantic way too. So someone who understands you, loves you unconditionally. The knight in shining armor. Our life would be just so hunky-dory if that were the truth. But what if soulmates aren't what we thought at all? What if they're about transformation? And I'll read you Carl Jung's quote shortly because it's quite interesting. This man was incredibly switched on, really awake and alert. And Carl Jung was born in 1875. Let me check my notes. Yes, 1875 to June 6 in 1961. And he was 85, nearly 86 when he passed away. And he was a Swiss psychiatrist, a psychotherapist, and a psychologist. And he became one of the most influential psychologists of the early 20th century. Now, his quote, I love this. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. And that's really it in a nutshell. I think that really leads us to what we're going to speak about today. So what is the role of a soulmate? And are there different roles that a soulmate plays in your life? One thing we do know, there is no mistaking with that magnetic attraction, that pull that we feel with some people. You experience it in a situation as a real pulling, like a drawing, like a magnetic pulling towards you, an invisible force that draws you towards a particular person. And I'm pretty sure everybody, all of us have had little snippets of this or big ones, but I'm sure everyone has actually experienced this in their life. And when you have it, it's very hard to ignore. That force, that pull is so very strong. So Jung speaks about the soulmate as being a portal for transformation. And he also says it's like a summoning from the universe, a summoning from your shadow side. It's time to rise. It's time for your shadow to transform. The universe is encouraging you and calling you to become more. It's a spiritual contract, and it's time to awaken. And this type of soulmate, it doesn't always look magical like the way we've traditionally thought of soulmates. And this is really an important distinction to understand. Your shadow, and we've all got them, your shadow is composed of all of the things you've suppressed, squashed down inside you. So the pain, the abandonment, the betrayal, the emotional trauma, the anger, the silences, the unspoken words, the love. Yeah, the love. That's suppressed as well. The happiness, the joy. Perhaps you were brought up in a family where every time you were happy and joyous and laughing, you were told to be quiet. So you learned, because that's survival, you learned to squash down your happiness, your joy, your love, as well as all of those other things. So the deeper connection with your soulmate, it's an interesting one because if it is a deeper and deeper connection that you have with that person, the louder your shadow will speak. So it's not really romantic as much as it is transformation. There may be great love there, but there'll be great transformation as well. And Jung said that your soulmate is not here just to love you, but to reveal you. So when we're being revealed like that, the shadow's surfacing, so it can feel very, very lumpy. But I believe that we are so loved by the universe, we have drawn this person, this soulmate in when it's our turn to, or our time to awaken, to really reconnect with the light of the soul. So understanding this can help us get through transformations. My personal life experience tells me that this is the way it works. And if you look at your life, would you agree with that? Can you look back on your life and see where certain people that you may not have called soulmates, but they've helped you to transform? You've learned through that person, those difficulties. Maybe there's great love there, but great pain as well. That was a soulmate. So if you look back in your life, what does your life experience tell you? And as I mentioned earlier, I knew when I walked past that man years ago in the corridor at a new job, I knew that I would marry him. And it was like I instantly and absolutely loved that man. And looking back now from where I stand now, because that was about 40 years ago, he was a soulmate. He gave me the gift of uncovering a big shadow inside me, a numbness that I had carried my whole life. Because suppressing things down, and if things get pretty tough, we numb out. And he gave me that gift. I'd never felt the pain that I had numbed inside me. And that man, that relationship was my biggest ever transformation. Breakdown and breakthrough. It wasn't easy. It really was not easy, but it did free me and it did raise me. It really did. It was my freedom. It's how I reconnected with my soul and who I really am. And of course, there's higher and higher levels to that. But was he a soulmate? That's the question that we all have to ask ourselves. With our difficult relationships, it could be a child in your family, one of your kids. It could be a parent. It could be a friend. It could be a work colleague. It can be anybody that you see that challenges you. It's like looking in a mirror and those parts of you are radiating back to you. So soulmates can come in all forms. I also have many clients who have experienced really extraordinary challenges that have caused them to look inside. And isn't that what a soulmate does? It mirrors back to you. It causes you to look not so much outside of yourself, but it causes you to look inside yourself. And the transformation that occurs is a true awakening. It's soul work. It's really soul work. So soulmates are often soul work. And Carl Jung said, a soulmate's arrival in your life is never random. It's never random. Their presence comes at a time when you're ready to expand spiritually. You're ready to release that shadow inside you. So is it preordained? Don't know. It sort of seems like that. At a higher level, you have chosen for these people to come in for your own expansion, your own growth, to reconnect with that light inside you again. So we recognize it when we see somebody. So if we've got recognition like that, there must be something that has been preordained or pre-organized on some higher level. And if you believe you choose your life and your circumstances, you'd probably agree that up there we have chosen for these people to come in for our higher good. Why on earth do we do that? But we do. We do on some level. That's my belief. And as I've gone on in life, I believe it's stronger and stronger. So it's really a soul contract. It's a spiritual agreement between you and that person, the two souls. So it's a soul contract to open up the hidden wounds that hold you stuck, to open your channel and to raise yourself. It's really about questioning the old conditioning too, questioning your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions to remember who you really are. Jung also says true love doesn't just comfort, it confronts. It confronts. He says what looks back at you with that person, what is looking back at you isn't them, it's you, it's your shadow, your longing, your forgotten self. So there'll come a time when your soul nudges you. And we've all had that. You know, when you're brought up a certain way, and we've all been conditioned by the society, the country, the place we live in, the family that we belong to, we've all been conditioned. And there's times during that family or within that family that we're told to do things a certain way. And there's a part of you at times where it's that deeper part that rebels against that. You hear it. That soul part starts nudging you and speaking to you and saying, no, that's not right. You should be doing this. Come this way. You hear it. You hear your soul nudging you. You hear it faintly, but you're too scared to speak out against your family. Why do we do that? Why don't we follow those nudgings of the soul? And I think it's because we don't want to go against our family. We don't want to go against our society. We want to fit in. We want to be liked. We want to keep the peace. So instead of expressing our truth, ourselves, we numb ourselves. We shut ourselves down and we continue to follow the rules. The learned rules, not the rule or the way that the soul is showing us. We choose to follow societal rules, family rules, and that's what creates the shadow side within us because we squash down our truth. So in that case, what happens? A lot of us turn to things like perfectionism, to addiction, to isolation. We might drop into a depression, start having panic attacks. That was certainly my past. So your soul will keep nudging you and nudging you until you start to look at it. And the ache that you get from that inside you becomes deeper and stronger because the soul is showing you which way to go. And we keep choosing the way we've been conditioned. So we get to this stage where we start to question everything, question our thoughts, question our motives, question our values, question our actions. So when we're at that stage where it gets really tough and the ache inside us is strong, we feel so torn. And it's like, what's going on? What's happening to me? What else is there in life? Why am I going through this? Perhaps this timing is when the soulmate and the soul work presents itself. I think the soulmate comes in at that point to help you face yourself and to help you release the light inside you. So the soulmate is an avenue for you to become whole again, to become free, to become who you really are. So if you've ever met someone who made your soul quiver, and it's sort of activated this deep emotion in you. You looked at that person and you went, oh, your soul just knew. Someone you felt like you knew, even though you'd never met them before, was most likely a soulmate. It's like a soul recognition, an exchange that's inexplicable. It has a huge impact on you, but it's so hard to explain. And sometimes it can be fleeting, that connection, an instant. As we said, it can be a flash. And there's an exchange of higher information that you can't explain. This is a soul reminder. There's something in there that soul is giving you and you are giving that soul. There's an energetic exchange, a shift, a remembrance that happens. And there's also many different ways it can present. It's random soulmate connections. I know someone who was in a conference years ago and where they had an unexpected visitor that was invited to the group. And this person said that there was such an incredibly strong connection as soon as they looked at each other, that both parties felt like they didn't know where one started and the other stopped. It's like they fused and became one. And this person describes it as their two hearts were joined, they just suddenly fused together. And she said she felt like her whole body had disappeared and her heart and this man's heart were beating really strongly and loudly as one heartbeat. And she said it was just extraordinary, out of this world. And they felt like they'd been transported into a different reality or a different planet, as she said. And they knew, like she knew straight away that they were soulmates. And they were from opposite sides of the earth, which is very interesting. Just this freak happening, so to speak. And they said the love that they had experienced was beyond this world. And it was life-changing for both of these parties, for both people. And the interesting thing is, they were each with different life partners. So it was a truly positive experience for them, but traumatic in that they could never actually be together. So there's absolutely no mistaking these connections when they happen. They ignite a deep stirring in the soul. So soulmates actually alter who you are. They raise you to a new level of being. They reveal hidden wounds and create the transformation that allows the fullness of who you are to shine through. That connection of your soul, more embodiment of your soul, which is what we're all after. So your soulmate helps you to uncover and shine your light of truth. It gives you the courage to stand and express the truth of your soul. So we stop moving away from that and we start to learn to speak our truth beyond fear and beyond emotional pain and stepping more and more into who we are. And I'd like to just speak about my course here for a second. If you're interested in learning more about energy and your soul, and what the soul means and how to embody it more and how we shift those shadows. You might be interested in the course, How to Give a Shift. It's my life empowerment coaching program. So I have 3 programs and this is the first one about the soul, and it teaches you about energy and how to clear emotional pollution from the body, how to raise your frequency and embody more of your soul. So it's through this soul work that we really get to live a higher, more enjoyable life, a more connected life, where we feel more aligned. Hence why I called the podcast Higher Soul Living. So soul work's important. It leads to freedom. So if you're interested in knowing more about this, you can register on my website at soulLifeConnection.com. That's soul, S-O-U-L, life, L-I-F-E, connection.com. And there's a little, if you click on the link there, it will take you through and you can register your interest and I will get back in touch with you. So soulmates. A soulmate, this is my closing message. Soulmates are precious, even if they don't feel it. A soulmate helps you to uncover hidden parts of yourself, good, bad, and indifferent. So soulmates are about transformation. They bring us back to wholeness. They help us to remember who we really are. The closer you get to your soul, the happier and more peaceful you will feel inside you. You'll be more aligned. So what is your higher being telling you today, now? Really start listening closely and step into that soul's journey if you can. Even if you're scared, do it anyway, because it will lead you to freedom. It will actually eventually make your heart sing. And I've got a couple of minutes left, and I'll just tell you this very quickly. Another little soul snippet that I had was many years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, when I was traveling. And I was with a man at the time, and it was he'd taken off in some huff, and I was in Paris, and I don't speak French, and he took the books with him. I didn't know what to do, so I caught a train to a particular place in Paris to go and have a look as a tourist. And when I came up out of the station, which was scary for me to catch the train on my own anyway, there was this woman there who was Italian, and she had her little guidebook there. And for some reason, she had that thing. She looks familiar. And I started talking to her. She didn't speak a word of English, and I didn't speak a word of Italian. But we spent about 12 hours together, and we had the best day. We had morning tea, lunch, afternoon tea, and dinner together. And we saw all of the tourist attractions that we wanted to see in that particular place that day in Paris. And we laughed all day, and we communicated through body language. Her name was Frederica. I have never seen Frederica since, and never been in contact with her, but it was like our souls knew each other. So she was my fairy godmother, soulmate on that day. So soulmates can come through in so many different ways. It was a great experience. Thanks for listening today. I hope you've enjoyed the discussion. Many blessings to you. Thank you for tuning in to Higher Soul Living, where you'll ignite your divine intelligence for life. With me, Reverend Christine Hart-Savage. Join me every second and fourth Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio for more information and stories that inspire hope, possibilities, and a greater understanding of who you are at a higher soul level. Together we deepen the connection between the spiritual and the physical aspects of your being and align to your soul's innate intelligence. Metaphysics and the higher soul's journey are my greatest joy. I invite you to join our Facebook community, Soul Life Connection Group, and to visit my website, soullifeconnection.com, for more information about me, my programs, my coaching, and to tap into your higher soul's intelligence. I hope to see you next time.